What's up, YouTube? It is your girl, Nicole Knox. I am your divorce and relationship coach. And today I'm going to be discussing a very controversial topic. I'm going to be discussing choking during sex, also known as erotic asphyxiation. And it's linked to now sexual assault as well as domestic violence. Now, from my own personal experience, I'm going to share a little bit of information about myself. I do participate in choking during sex. I do enjoy it. But I can see the link now to domestic violence, a little bit of history. My ex-husband and I did participate in choking during sexual intercourse. And then one day during an argument, I'm also a victim of domestic violence, as well as sexual assault. And so one day during an argument that escalated between him and I, he choked me. And, you know, with the confusion now with the younger generation, you know, with the aggressiveness in men, it's looked as a turn on. But I was not turned on. We were not having sex, of course. We were having an argument and it became violent. And so me being choked and strangled, I was in fear because I'm like, this is out of anger. This is not out of pleasure. Even though it releases the same endorphins and things of that nature, what happens with choking while having sex is that it's instead of what happens when you're having sex and you're receiving pleasure, it releases an intense, it does make your orgasm extremely intense. It's an amazing feeling, but if that's not what you're into, it can be an extremely scary one. It's something that needs to be discussed between your partner. And what's happening now is that a lot of people are just assuming that men or women are into that without getting their consent. And it's turning into more of a sexual assault. And I can see where, you know, now instead of a beautiful experience that people are wanting, they are now traumatized because, you know, during sex, without their permission, they didn't know when it was going to happen, their partner began to choke them. And, you know, one of the feelings, I am a submissive. So one of the feelings for this submissive, it is being, you know, aggressively handled and, you know, thrown up against the wall or pinned down to the bed, that type of aggressive behavior. And then for the man that's doing it, just to be able to, it be okay to release that amount of aggression, onto a woman that he's dominating and she loves it. It could be a very invigorating experience, but on a partner that did not sign up for that, that's something that they don't like, that's something that they're not, they don't want to partake in, then that's where you get the sexual assault. And then with now younger women, you know, when a man gets upset and he's being very serious and he's being very angry and he's expressing his rage or his frustration, and then he throws it up against the wall, a lot of women are confusing, young girls are confusing them, blurring the lines of, oh, I like this, oh, I like when he's aggressive like this, and instead of realizing like, no, this is not in a pleasurable way, this is domestic violence, this is an assault against you. And in her mind, she's like, oh, yes, I love when he's aggressive and he pins me up against the wall when he's angry. And not necessarily seeing that that isn't the right time or the right moment. Now, a lot of higher ups or the media is stating that it is because of porn. I really don't agree with that. I don't agree. I didn't get that from porn. To be quite honest, I actually don't see a lot of people in porn doing that. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place, but for me personally, me growing up, I'm an 80s baby, that wasn't a big thing. So for me, I don't believe that it became from porn. I think it's just the aggressive nature where some women like myself, I don't want to say we want to be handled, because that's not necessarily true. We don't want to be handled. What we want is, we just love that aggression and that masculine energy in the bedroom. And we love that, just to submit to that amount of power and all those feelings, that we don't always have to be, for me as a submissive, we don't always have to be alpha females. We get to be submissive to our men, and we get to feel good, and all those emotions, that amount of pleasure. That's where I got that from. Not necessarily, but because outside of the bedroom, I don't want you to put your hands on me. Outside of the bedroom, I do not want you throwing me up against the wall. Outside of the bedroom, I do not want you pinning me down or withholding me from leaving, things of that nature. Because as a person that has a past of domestic violence, I know the lines of, that's not okay. That's not something that we do outside. That's not something that I'm gonna allow outside of the bedroom. But it kind of is a catch-22, because what I'm noticing with men are very transparent and very direct. So with them, I feel like, well, if it's okay in the bedroom, then outside of the bedroom, it should be okay too. And it kind of almost makes you want to say, like, well, dang, should I make this not okay all in general, because I don't want to confuse the lines. I don't want to confuse the line that it is okay in the bedroom, but he gets confused when we're outside of the bedroom and I'm walking away. And I'm noticing with the younger generation, a man will grab her behind her neck and snatch her to make her come back. To me, I'm like, why are you grabbing her like that? That's not okay. But I'm noticing with the younger generation, they like it. They love it. It turns them on. And so I feel like with that trend, it has now become, it's starting to make sexual assault unconscious, because I don't think these men attend to really sexually assault, or these women tend to sexually assault their partners. It's something that they're used to in their previous relationships or their previous sexual encounters. But what we as a people need to get towards is making sure that it's okay. Not just assuming that me choking someone is okay. They might not like it. And I'm going to share another story with a sexual partner I had years ago. We were having our sexual intercourse, and the choking went too far, and to where I was just like, okay, I almost died. And not to casually graze over that like that, but for sensitive for kids. But yes, I passed out, and later on, immaturely, we laughed about it. We thought it was funny, but and upon doing my research, a lot of people do not take the necessary steps to research choking or strangling, or putting, another one is putting a bag over your head. A lot of people are not doing the research to do it properly. So people can become injured. People can die. You can injure the neck. You can injure the esophagus. You can damage a lot of things in your neck area. And that's another thing why it's frowned upon, because people are not taking the necessary precautions, the safety precautions. I really honestly feel like people are also too are not equipped for CPR as well. So it is a practice that, unless you know how to, you have a safe word, or make sure you, first of all, make sure you have consent. You guys should have a safe word, and then know when to stop without damaging or causing the person to pass out, or choking them just a little bit too much, to where that you can kill them. And the biggest thing that we need to focus on as a people is we have to work on not allowing what we do in the bedroom to play out also outside of this, because it's causing, what the domestic violence is causing, you know, it's subtle domestic violence, you know, and that's with domestic violence, that's how things progress into bigger things. It's with the little subtleties. Oh, I just grabbed her, or I just grabbed him. I grabbed them by the arm, or I grabbed them by the neck, or I pulled her by her hair. This is what I do to her all the time, or this is what I do to him all the time. And that's where the lines become crossed, and that's how people get hurt. So one of the things, I'm going to add some more research at the bottom of my video, and I'm going to be trying to update more often. But this is a very serious topic, especially in the younger generation that I see coming up, that now certain things now are just becoming way too acceptable. That shouldn't be acceptable. And with the choking during sex, now I will say the benefits of it, is it pleasurable for those of us who have done it and experienced it? Yes, it is, but it is also very, very dangerous. And also too, what I don't want to see in our younger generation and our younger community is young girls being sexually assaulted. Nobody should be choked or spanked or hit during sex. First of all, you should talk to your partner and say, you know, is this okay? Is it okay if I grab you here? Is it okay if I touch you this way? I don't want to make an assumption that this is okay when it's not. And that's something that we need to work on as a people and as a nation, because they're stating that that's something really big in America, and I don't think it's just really big in America. I just think it's just highly publicized here in the United States. But what I'm worried for is our younger generation making certain things seem like it's okay when it's not, and a lot of girls are reporting. There's a high number of young girls reporting being, well, the sex was consensual, but the choking part was not. So I was traumatized. I was scared. I was afraid. I didn't like it. And what I'm afraid of is that they're not coming out and saying, you know what, I don't like when you choke me. And it's something that needs to be brought up. It's a conversation that needs to happen, and more information surrounding it needs to be available. And to any young girl that's out there, open up and say to your partner, I don't like it. It's okay. It's, you know, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's not being choked. You know, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So it's okay. Do not be afraid to talk to your partner. And to the men, you know, don't be afraid to say, you know what, I don't like being choked. That's not something that I'm into. Okay, I will leave some information and some other links in the comment section for you guys to take a look at, on the statistics of it, also on how to do it correctly, and things of the nature that you guys can read upon. Thank you so much.